All right, so we are working on strategy 2, students as teachers. And go ahead.
So we, in this session, just want to talk about how we can get students to own their own learning and just be responsible for what they know. That voice and choice is very important. We want students to have their own accountability and just be able to share it. We know that, students, as they do the teaching and the learning, they learn more than if they're just given the information. So this is really about the high expectations and making sure that students are participating in the design of their own learning. We'll watch a quick video that just kind of goes over some of the benefits of allowing students to own their own learning.
We know that it's important to move from compliance to student engagement, but what happens when we take it a step further and empower our students to own their learning? Well, here are 7 ideas. They fall in love with learning by finding joy in pursuing their passions and geeky interests, and in the process they learn how to research and curate and communicate. They embrace a maker mindset as they walk through a design process and launch their work to the world. They develop iterative thinking, viewing mistakes as a chance to learn. And this leads to a shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. They become self-starters, exploring new frontiers, asking hard questions, and trying new things. They become problem solvers and systems thinkers, but they also challenge the system as hackers who think divergently and rewrite the rules. They become architects of their own learning, engaging in project management and collaboration. A.J. Giuliani puts it this way: our job is not to prepare students for something. Our job is to help students prepare themselves for anything. In other words, when we empower our students, they are able to own their learning forever.
Okay, thanks for letting us know the audio was a little wonky there. All right, so we are working on high expectations as our culturally responsive mindset today. And in that practice, focusing on engaging students in rigorous, engaging, differentiated tasks. Kaylee went over this earlier. So we're thinking about how we can allow students to participate in the design of tasks that align to expectations, as well as presenting tasks that have high cognitive demand and include multiple solution strategies or viewpoints and representations. So our take on this.
So we have 2 options here in terms of how we want to complete the work, whether you want to kind of work through this independently, or we can go through some of this together, since it's just you're the only one.
It's basically your session, Kyle, which is awesome, because then you can just ask us questions and we can think through together. So feel free. I mean, that's basically what's going to happen when we have less people. So
that sounds good.
What's that? Yeah, cool. Nice.
That sounds good.
All right. So what we did is we kind of wanted to use this session as an opportunity to highlight, and great that you're a literacy teacher, right? This might work a little differently for maybe math per se, but to highlight the DPS databases that are available to every teacher, right? I'm not sure, like if you had your students, actually, this is sort of a good question. If you had your students do some sort of research project, what sources or resources would you have them use? Anything that comes to the top of your mind?
Yeah, actually, we were discussing this at home last night, and unwittingly, we didn't know this was going to be a bit, and I was trying to access what resources and what databases we used as high school students in our day, and my partner was like throwing out, well, I don't know if we use that. We did like a lot of just like general web searching, and not until we got to college did we use JSTOR and some of these other things. But so there were other ones, like GaleNet was one, and anyway, I couldn't come up with them, and I think it was a sign and a signal that like I don't have any go-to databases presently for my middle school students. And what we
Yeah.
do is, like, if I don't bring a primary source and secondary sources to class, I don't know where to guide them. I mean, they're all pretty Google fluent, and we talk about recognizing reliable resources after a Google source or search. But I would say that my students, they don't know where to head. For instance, for Britannica or GaleNet, where things are already peer reviewed and they're solid for them.
Well, sounds like you landed in the right spot. Truly. So like we know all these resources are here, and you already named several of the benefits to using these sort of DPS approved. I want to go beyond just saying approval, but right, like these are also scaffolded for age groups. There's resources in Spanish. So these, which you see listed on that slide, do you need a link to the slides, by the way, or did you grab it earlier?
I could use a link.
Okay, let me just send this to you. Just because you might want to be able to peruse later, catch some of these links. Let me know if that doesn't work for you. So these are all of the secondary databases available to DPS teachers. So we have Britannica School for middle schoolers, and then there's the high school version. There's Britannica Moderna, which is, I believe, actually, let me show you something else. I just remembered we have, so that first link that says a summary of each of the databases goes through what each one covers. So when I go to, I want to look at Moderna because I wasn't sure. So Moderna is 9 through 12. But the Britannica Escolar is information K-12, English and Spanish, right? You also have this one, Culturegrams, which is grades 3 through 12, which is articles and multimedia about countries and culture, which I think is a really just interesting resource to have available, even if you were going to use it for like warm-ups or brain break. I mean, I could see incorporating it in a variety of ways. So you have, and I'll just shoot this to you too, because you might want to bookmark this page. This gives, again, that quick summary of what each one is. So if you're, embarking on a project and going, hey, what source, what can I direct my students to? You can find what's going to work best for that. So let me head back to my slides here. And we also have the content in Spanish. We're going to watch this video, which does talk about the value of databases for students. It sounds like you know a lot of this, but maybe you get a couple of additional ideas or information just about why it's better to use these than to have students do a Google search, that kind of thing. So I will mute again. Give me just 1 second. We'll watch this. And this is also a video made by the library services team in DPS, FYI.
Welcome back. Now that you have had a chance to evaluate a resource that your students might use when doing online research, let's take a look at an online database and use those same 6 questions to determine if it's a quality learning resource that you would want to use with your students. For this evaluation, we will use Britannica Middle School. This is an article about Mae Jemison. The first evaluation question, again, is the content easy to read? You can see that it is very visually clean. There are no advertisements and no links that lead to online stores. There are links within the text to have students dig deeper or learn more. Britannica also organizes information at the tabs at the top. The second question is the content written at an appropriate reading level for my students? So in this case, this is a database that is geared towards middle school students, and this is content written at that level with a few varying options. The third question is the content able to...
I just want to call attention to that, right? That you can choose different reading levels in the articles for your students should they need that.
Yeah, that's great. We've been doing the same with New Zealand a lot of times, and the kids appreciate that.
To be read aloud. For all of our databases, they have a read aloud feature. For Britannica, you can click on the listen button. Question number 4 is, can the content be translated into other languages? In this case, the content is available in other languages by clicking the translate button and choosing the language you would like to translate using Google Translate. Question 5 is, the content created by a reliable source? Yes, this content is all created by Britannica. And the reason why Denver Public Schools subscribes to the database is to be able to provide students with reliable and current information that can be trusted. That final question, which is the information up to date? Again, that's another great function of our database, as they are continually updated and revised through the companies to make sure students have the most accurate and up-to-date resources. Now it's your turn, take 2. Think about that same unit or content area that you did a Google search on, and choose one of our middle or high school databases to do a similar search for information.
Okay, I'm going to stop us there. And just one other, I wanted to point out one other database real quick, which is the Opposing Viewpoints, which I also just think is unique and kind of cool. So you can, it's this one right here, right? Help you draw conclusions about hundreds of debated topics. Includes thousands of resources to provide authoritative articles, reports, videos, and statistics. So I think that can just be really helpful for that specific type of information. You know, argumentative writing, etc. You know your content better than I do, certainly. So just wanted to mention that guy. And then, so in addition to all these databases, and you can see why, like just the use of them, I mean, they're made for students with the read alouds, scaffolded reading, etc. Wanted to also bring attention, if you want, we can watch this video as well. It's a little longer, but I could play it faster, which is about how to integrate these in Schoology, which is cool because you can give students like direct links. It's all there. I don't know if you've noticed, like some of the links in Schoology are there on the left-hand bar. So this is a 4-minute video. Does that sound interesting to you, or would you rather kind of move on?
Yeah. I mean, I imagine there are some tips and tricks that are embedded in there that I can access.
Okay. So we'll give this guy a go, and I will speed it up. Let me know if it's too fast or anything like that.
Using Schoology in your classroom is having integration to our Gale databases. I'll show you what this looks like first as a student. When you're in your Schoology class and you scroll down to the left-hand side,
now that you
can
have
see
had
that
a
you have
chance
the Gale databases right here at the bottom. I'll go ahead and click here as a middle schooler. And first thing I see here is just a sample article that may be of interest, and I can scroll and get a couple more here as well. I could also go down and browse topics. There are lots to choose from. If I know exactly what I need to see, I can go in here and just search for my topic. I'll just pull up climate change. Oops. Okay, so now what comes up is a list of things that relate to climate change. So I could go to images or magazines or reference, many other things here as well. Or I could just start looking down to see if anything looks like it'll work for me. I'm going to click on this first one here. Okay, so now I'm in my article, and I can see that I have several things that might be of interest. First of all, I can translate this article. So if I click here and I scroll down, I can see lots and lots of different languages that I could translate this article into. We'll go into that a little bit more in just a minute. We can also change our font size to make it more readable, and we can listen to the article as well.
Adapting to climate change.
Now, if you do translate this article into another language, I'll just choose French here. I can complete this translation, and then it will even read the article to me in French. So if I listen now.
S'adapter au changement climatique.
Okay, so it does translate it and read to us in that language. I'm going to go back to my original English. So students can highlight any part of the passage that might help them. They can also make some notes in that same way. When they click over words and drag, they can do notes. They can also define words here. If they have highlighted something and they don't want it, they could trash that and delete the highlight. If they ever want to save the article, they have the option to do that by choosing this Google Drive icon. So that's just automatic. It signs me in, it knows my Google Drive, and it will show up as a Google document in my Drive so I can have it later. One other really nice thing about using databases is that the citations are automatically done for you. You can choose MLA, APA, or Chicago, and they're just done. You could export this to Google Drive or to another app like Noodle Tools or EasyBib if you want to. Okay, so that is looking at this as a student. Let's go back and make an assignment as a teacher. So now, if I want to add materials, I'll go, in this case, to add assignment. And just type in a sample database assignment. And I could put instructions in here, whatever I want the students to do. I could attach questions or a Google form or something. But to give them access to the article, I could go to Insert Content and then just move right on down here to the right side. And I'll, again, go to middle school. Search up climate change. And I have the same types of things here. I'll just choose this first article once again. And in this case, I'm going to choose embed document to show you what this looks like. I do need to choose a category, a grading category for my Schoology, and then I'll hit create. Now, when I look at this database assignment, this is what it looks like to a student. When they click on it, they can see the article is automatically embedded here. And if they want to make a copy of it for themselves, they can choose this Google Drive and it will log them into their Google account. From there, they can do their own highlighting and save that to their Google Drive.
Okay, so pretty cool, pretty slick, right?
Yeah, that's neat. That's really
Yeah.
neat.
And it's just nice to, again, share out some of these things because like they're all in Schoology, but so many of us, I mean, I didn't know about this when I was teaching. So just really trying to showcase the databases. So now that we kind of got a grip on the databases,
So, yeah, so the database is the first step in helping students kind of do their own research, own their own learning. And students, have the same access to all of these databases that you do. So if you want to do it where you're assigning the article, you can do that, but you can also just let them open up the web page. So it's lion.dpsk12.org. They find their school and they have access to all of those databases. So if they're directing their own research, they can access any or all of those and do that. That's only the first half though. The second half is then sharing that learning. So in terms of how to do that, really we have, quite a few tools that they could use. The tools that we have listed on this page are some of the more basic, straightforward tools. So Schoology, Seesaw, G Suite, you can have them, write out a basic report. Jamboard, you can have them draw or create, some sort of slide for it. Flipgrid is video. And then Schoology and Seesaw, obviously there are multiple ways that they can share out their learning. With these, since these are some of the more straightforward tools, we won't spend too much time going over any of them, but in this slide deck, you do have access to all of our all-in-ones. So all of these images are linked. So if you want to access or view just specifics on how to use them, you can click on the links.
Oops, there we go. Now we're back. Okay.
And then these are some of the more, these are also just additional platforms that you can use to help students share their learning. It does involve a little bit more work on the student's part and the teacher's part. So for all of these, what we've done is actually created videos that you can give directly to your students that teach them how to do it. So if you've never had students create a Kahoot, kids love Kahoots when they play it in class, but they also are capable of creating their own Kahoot and sharing that with their classmates. Same with Edpuzzle, same with Screencastify, same with Pear Deck. So just taking it just to another level for, making students really take ownership of sharing that learning, not just sharing out information, but actually taking that and making it something where other students can learn from. All of these tools are really great for doing that. Are there any that you would like to talk through in terms of how students can create their own?
Well, which is most exciting to you? I know Kahoot pretty well. Pear Deck I can navigate just fine. I'm not familiar with Edpuzzle. My teaching partner, she uses it a fair amount, but I don't know much about it. And Screencastify, I maybe just externally processing. Maybe Edpuzzle would be helpful.
Yeah, so Edpuzzle is where you take a video and you can pause and enter questioning into the video. So as they present the information, you can pause the video and you can ask multiple choice questions, or you can ask short written response questions. So it just allows students to kind of process what they're watching as they're watching videos. So if a student were to create an Edpuzzle for their teaching, they would first start by creating a Screencastify video, and then they would add that to Edpuzzle, and then they would create questions that they could ask during their video.
Okay, that tracks. So the process would start with Screencastify, and they would just present and record, and then go to Edpuzzle.
Though I'll throw out that with Edpuzzle, you can also, like on the teacher side, any videos that you might want to use in class, like Khan Academy comes to mind, or what's the Crash Course, right? Like let's say there's a Crash Course video you wanted to use. You can import anything from YouTube and probably other sources as well that you can chop up into sections. So if students, like just to throw that out there, like if they had a specific topic, they could also find a high quality video and chop it up and add questions to kind of quiz their teammates. So each of these icons is hyperlinked. And here is the Edpuzzle video. Our teammate Zuri helped. What grade was it? Do you remember?
It was elementary. I don't remember.
It was
the grade.
elementary, and did manage to help, take them through all of those pieces. So this is a 5-minute video, but we also have quite a bit of time. Let me just check on our. Actually, it looks like we got taken out. What time did we do back? 9:20.
9:20. Yep.
So we do have plenty of time. And again, since it's just you know what I mean, we can just tailor it, figure out what we want to explore further, and you might even be able to leave a little bit earlier if we're, if we just sort of talk through things. So what do you think? Should we watch this one? Edpuzzle is pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be great. Before we jump into this, and before I forget, I made a note about those databases being plugged into Schoology already. So on my view, and I imagine that it differs for every teacher, but mine has like Gale in Context for middle and high school, Gale in Context opposing viewpoints. How can I plug in? Let's say I wanted like Moderna or something. Like how do I get that in there?
That's a good question.
We might just have to link those in, put those in as a link.
Okay.
If they're not,
didn't know if it was easy to just add it as like a plugin or something.
Right.
Yeah, because we're looking. Lisbon pulled it up on her Schoology right now, and she has those same 4 options.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder why, like Culturegrams also isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But to access the others, you can always go to lion.dpsk12.org.
Sure.
And link them that way. That is a good question for library services. We'll follow up on that. Okay. While she's looking into that a little bit further, we'll start this Edpuzzle video.
Hunter. I am the Near Northeast Regional Digital Coach, and I support K-5 schools. I wanted to show you how to log into your Edpuzzle, what it looks like on the teacher view and what it looks like as a student. So as a teacher, you're going to go to edpuzzle.com. You will click login. You will click I am a student, or sorry, I'm a teacher. Sorry. And you'll click sign in with Google. A lot of the times your information is already saved because you've done this. You've put in your password a million times. If not, though, you will click, use another account. Mine is saved, so I'm going to click it. And it brings you to the Edpuzzle page. This is the discovery page, so it has a bunch of videos that you can use already. You can search through different subjects, different grade levels that can be edited, where you can put your own audio in, you can put your own questions in as well. For today, though, we're going to want to create a class. So I'm going to go to My Classes, and I'm going to create a class. This can also...
Sorry, just an FYI. So she is elementary. She's working with Seesaw. For Schoology, once you make that connection, you won't need to create classes. It'll update off your roster. So just FYI. And if you do want to get started with Edpuzzle, obviously you can just shoot me an email and I can come help you out.
Also link to your learning platform that you're using at your school. So some schools are using Schoology. I know there's one school that I support that's using Google Chrome, so you can connect directly to that. For this one though, I'm just gonna do create a new class. I'm gonna name it something. I'm gonna call it Sandbox 2 because I have a couple of sandboxes that I'm playing in. You can enter in your grade level. You can enter in the subject. I'm going to put first grade, and I'm going to say general education. I'm going to create a class. All right, so Sandbox 2, my class is created. To invite students, I'll click this Invite Students button, and I can share via email with students, Or for myself, just so that I'm going to pretend like I'm a student assignment, I'm going to add some content. I can upload a video that I previously have already made. I can record a video through here, through Edpuzzle, which is kind of awesome. I can go discover some other video content, or my favorite is a student project. So I can create a project for my students to do. I'm just going to put simple addition. I'm going to do the title that they gave me. Goal of the project, to share strategies with peers. The instructions will be create a video showing how you solved a problem. I'm going to say save project. Let me move this here. Sorry. I'm going to click this button and I'm going to say assign. I'm going to click just simple addition because I don't want to do Colorado weather. I just want to really assign this. I'm going to assign once I have a student, I'll click assign and then it'll be done. I'm going to assign it to Sandbox 2 to everyone. I'm going to put a due date of today. Click save. I have to move my face. Click save, and I'm going to assign. So now that is assigned to the class, and I am done for that portion of what it looks like on the teacher side. As a student, you would log into your Chromebook. Your students would log into their Chromebooks. They would enter in edpuzzle.com. They'd log in, click I am a student, sign in with their Google account. They'd enter in their student ID number at dpsk12.net, as well as their password, which is usually their date of birth, date, the month, and the year. I have a student pulled up, so I'm going to use this student. And I'm going to say add a class code because this is a brand new class. I want him to add my class. It's going to find my class, and it says my name, and just making sure the title is correct, and then join class. And now you can already see this assignment is in here to get started with. So I can click on that assignment, start project, and record my video. So I can do find video, or I can record my video through Google Chrome, which I will show you in a separate video if I'm a student, and then upload that through Screencastify directly to Edpuzzle. So thank you so much for watching, and I will put that in the part 2 video of this. Hello,
That was great. Just quickly, is there a way for kids to jump in and have a view that's similar to the teacher view, where they can just record a video, like create their own project without joining a class?
So they would, and that's why I mentioned that earlier. So in her video, I don't think you would have to, because you will have a roster.
Mm-hmm.
It will update based on your IC roster, based on what you have in Schoology. So you shouldn't have to go through quite as many steps. And when they get that assignment, the only thing I saw that was different is I don't know that students can record in Edpuzzle. I think that's the one question that we would have to, because that's actually a new feature. Even for like teachers, recording in Edpuzzle is a new feature. So Lisbon's doing some recon right now.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got, and we've got the
video for how students would add from Screencastify.
Okay, cool. And can it be self-directed on their front, or do they have to have an assignment posted? Right? Can they just jump into Edpuzzle and say, for instance, if I give them a range of platforms to use to present their learning, to present their research, and Edpuzzle happens to be one, do I need to always create an assignment for them, or can they jump into the platform and they say, I chose
They can
Edpuzzle?
access Edpuzzle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can access Edpuzzle and access the videos, and then create their own. Yeah, they can. You would just have to teach them how to use Edpuzzle and how to get through and create their own videos, but they would be able to do that.
Okay. We can, I can dive into that or tap you in for that another time.
Yeah. Because it's sort of a new idea. Like, I know I haven't really seen this done, but we know, I mean, it'd be really great if people
Mhm.
were doing it. Because and it's fun for the students, right? Because it's obviously like using all that technology and just adding on to their own learning. So let's see what Zuri has in her part 2.
Hello everyone, this is part 2 of my Edpuzzle video. I wanted to show you what it looks like from a student account. So I'm in a student's account now, and if you see this button up here at the top, this is Screencastify already recording. I'm going to take something that I already previously recorded, I'm going to upload it to Edpuzzle. So I have the video that I did, part 1. I'm just going to upload this to Edpuzzle now. So I have these options down here where it says export video. You might only see export to YouTube and download video. If you go to more options, you can add in Edpuzzle. So I had to go in here and turn on Edpuzzle. So now that it's turned on, I'm going to put upload to Edpuzzle, and it goes straight to my student account. And it says click on the Google Drive button to start uploading the directions. I'm going to click yes. And then your student will see this that says Edpuzzle wants access to your Google account. You're of course going to click allow so that you can upload your video. Takes a second, but your video goes directly to Edpuzzle. Takes a minute for it to finish downloading and uploading, but once I'm done, I can post that video to the assignment that's in my classroom.
Okay. So it looks like you do have to set up that link between Edpuzzle and Screencastify to get that all flowing. But Screencastify, at least, I would say, is pretty simple for students to use. Just those additional pieces with Edpuzzle might get a little complicated. So we're, I think that's, oops, sorry about that. It's a long call. We're actually at the end of our slide. We're up on the reflection. So we do have some extra time. So if you have any additional questions, we're here for you.
Okay, sweet. I am encouraged by all of this, knowing that our kids will tinker with it and will probably end up teaching me how to use it anyhow. That's why I launched with that question, related to access, because on some platforms, none of these in particular, but we've tried to go through that exercise of students trying a different interface or a different platform and just playing with it and seeing what they can create. And there have been some roadblocks in the past where they've been like, well, Mr. Cosme, it says I don't have access to this function, or your teacher platform looks way different than mine, and I can't do that unless basically it comes down to like, I can't do that unless you know how to do that. And I don't want to run into that issue with some of these. So it seems like I know that Screencastify, they can be self-taught, and there are really no roadblocks there. I know that Pear Deck and Kahoot, I can help them navigate that. But I just wanted to clarify that Edpuzzle, if we choose to go that route, like, hey, I can help you with some basics, but it would be really neat if you just explored and whatever you're able to produce, you're able to produce. And if it doesn't work for you, then I can go do some further learning and we can try something else.
Yeah.
But are there any, like on the previous slide, on slide 40, where we've got like our kind of classic tools? One example would be like a Jamboard I wanted to share with my kids, and I wanted them to collaborate on last week for some reason, and like it's worked in the past. It just like said no to everyone. Like it just said like, no, you can't access it.
Did you?
And I don't know, like I shared it for all DPS users, and it was editable, but maybe Jamboard, I'm missing a step.
Yeah, no, that's where my head went, was, did you share it? Was it editable? I've run into that before.
Kids said the same thing. They're like, Mr. Cosme, did you share it with us? Like, did you make it accessible for DPS? And we did it. So maybe like it will take just like going through the kind of how-tos again and just make sure that I clicked all the buttons.
What message were the students getting?
It was basically a permissions bit. It just said they didn't have
permission. So
or like
Jamboard does
Jamboard,
have to
all
be, yeah, so Jamboard has to be turned on for the school for students to access, but you said they have accessed it before, right?
Well, I've accessed it at Merrill, and so
Okay.
this was my first attempt at Hamilton
Okay.
with Jamboard, and so that
could be it.
Okay.
I'm
Because
trying to look up right now.
Pretty broad based, like no, you can't go there, and like this is a tool that you don't. I think that was it. It was like this is a tool that you don't have access to, or something along those lines.
And Jamboard, different than all other Google Suite things, is the one that needs approval because technically it's a 13 and up tool.
Okay.
So the principal has to approve it. So I'm trying to see if it's on the ATM, but it's being very slow. So just a second. Jamboard. I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I'll follow up with Faye and get that on there. I think that's what that issue is.
Okay.
Silly rules.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's okay. We did Jamboard. They just collaborated on the whiteboard, which is plenty fun. Actually, I hadn't done that in a while, and it looked really pretty in the room, so they were excited.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm thinking that covered the questions that came up as we were working through it.
Okay.
I mean, I plenty more will arise as I poke around.
Yeah, and if you are thinking about getting started with Edpuzzle, like I'm happy to look into it further too, and just kind of do some tests or come in when you're doing it to help troubleshoot all of that stuff. I can help with because what we did on this project, we each took one of these tools ourselves, and so like Zuri was just the person who did Edpuzzle, but I'm happy to look into it further if that's something you're gonna look at. So if you don't have other questions, our just sort of last reflection. We're over here at JFK hanging out. What is an upcoming unit, lesson, or project that you could design to give your students more ownership of their learning, and what tools might you use? So it sounds like this might be something up your alley. Is there anything you're thinking about?
Yeah, actually, that's a perfect segue. That's what I was going to share next. Is that is something we've noted, Maddie and I, my team teacher at Hamilton, that we've not given the kids a ton of opportunity to. They have opportunities for choice along the way, but they've not had a substantial student-led research project or substantial student-led project in general. There's been a lot of like teacher guided, teacher assigned. They're just like they're sort of reached their threshold of like, yes, I will write that thing that you want me to write, and I will post it in that place, right? But they're itching. Like more and more, I'm getting questions for like, when do we get to choose how we do a book report, or when and so it's clear that we need to experiment a little bit. So I think what we're planning for our third unit is, and potentially at the end of this second unit for us, for our second novel, is how can we incorporate an outside reading choice plus research and then student-led presentation. And so we were thinking options on all fronts, like options in terms of what their partner reading would be, options naturally in terms of what they research and where they find their research, and then definitely options in terms of how they share what they've learned. And we'll incorporate like their race paragraphs and essay, these things that we need to make sure that they're practicing. But I think this is why I jumped in here, is that I want to be able to give them more tools than I still want to give them their tactile things. Like if you want to do poster board and bring in like a self-made globe or something like that, that's beautiful. But we do have kids who are going to want to try this technology. So
yeah.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice in like 2 to 3 of these platforms and become pretty adept, and teach those to them, and then offer them the host, of them and say like, these I can offer pretty solid support. If you want to try a different platform, if Edpuzzle is totally your thing and I'm no expert, then do it, and I'll help support you. But I thought I would learn maybe 3 databases that I'm really comfortable working with, and then 3 of these platforms that I'm really comfortable, and give them those options.
That sounds awesome.
What they can do.
That sounds really cool. And actually, Kyle, if you don't mind, or maybe I'll just, so that you don't have to remember, I'll bug you and Maddie in a while, because we're also, as our team is always looking for examples of precisely this, like when students take more ownership in the classroom. So I'm going to make myself a note just to follow up with you. When might you be starting Unit 3? Is that coming up?
Yeah, it's coming up. We've got, I think we have two more weeks of Unit 2, and it may stretch just based on a Teal Day plus a President's Day and so on and so forth. But I think it's we're concluding the novel in 2 weeks, and then we'll get going.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd love to just get kind of document that a little bit, if it's okay.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll remember too, considering I'll be accessing this slideshow and the list of resources. So as we get it together, I'll just CC you on something and say, hey, like, this is happening.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. That sounds great. When we go back at 9:20. So we've got 20 minutes, and all we're going to do, we go back for a whole group reflection before we start our next session. But I'm not going to make you hang out for that if you don't want to. So if you like, you're free to take off, Kyle.
Okay. Yeah. I'll dip out, and will they be expecting me back in that main group?
They won't. They'll have your attendance, and I'll make sure you're accounted for as well. Just since
doesn't need to do the survey for credit.
Oh, the survey. No, Lisbon makes a good point.
Sure.
Can we give him the survey now? Hold on one second. Let us do some recon. We'll be right back. Okay, Kyle. So did you register for this session before?
No.
No. So
would it be helpful if I did it now?
It might work.
Just put in. Yeah, you can just put
This
it on
is from the whole year. Does anybody look at these things?
I think so.
Oh, I'm totally unmuted.
Actually, there's probably like a better answer. Is that I guess I didn't because Luke just sent me the email that said thanks for registering for this. So like somebody registered for this, but I didn't go into Learning Space.
It also could be, do you remember a month or 2 ago when you had signed up for the PDU and I was like, oh, Kyle, you're in the PDU, and you're like, wait, actually.
Yeah, it was
be on a list of his.
Okay.
I have a feeling. Here is this spreadsheet for people who haven't signed up. Oops, wait, there we go. But it's from the whole year, so I have questions about whether, oh no, it is color coded, so maybe, but that's from, anyway, hopefully that gets updated. And if you have a Schoology course for today's PL, then you are registered and you should get credit.
You would need to go into Schoology and complete the survey.
Right, this right here.
So if you look in Schoology for that highlighted course name and you see it in there, you can go in and complete the survey. If you don't see that in your course list, sign up on the spreadsheet.
I'm looking. I see. I don't think I have it. Okay, so I'll just throw it on the spreadsheet. I'm not super concerned about it, honestly, unless like it's an issue with the district, which I've learned in short time that it's like really not. Like if I were, it's like it's my win or loss, just
right
by or not.
And that's right, especially since you're not doing the PDU, it won't affect you that way either. It's really just credit towards recertification when you're due for that.
Okay.
So if you like, hang out in the other room to make sure. Luke might have other instructions. And if not, either way, like you said, it's probably fine. So I just hate to make people wait,
Yeah, it's okay. I can even well, I don't want to bother them too much, but I'll just basically send them a quick note. Hey, I put my name on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully this is being updated, and maybe someone is looking at it. I noticed that the most recent date, someone did put something on the 3rd of January. So
that was our last session. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. That was super helpful. Thank you. I do feel like I landed in the right spot for this one.
Nice.
And that, a lot of new tools, or at least good stuff for the kids to poke around.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'll follow up with you and Maddie and just see if you guys need any additional help. I'm happy to look into anything additionally. So good. It was good hanging out. Glad we could help. And I guess enjoy the rest of your day. Stay warm.
Yeah, right back at you. See you.
All right. Bye.